Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for my introduction. This is Daisuke Matsushima. Actually, I'm from the Kanazawa University as a professor of the Kanazawa University. So actually, I'd like to talk about some of the restartup. But beforehand, I'd like to introduce myself. The chair already mentioned that I worked for the government. I stayed in the METI, the Ministry of Economy and the Trade Industry at the time. I stationed a couple of emerging Asian countries like India. If you look at the picture, the right hand side, so you can find this is the guys. He's Modi ji, the Prime Minister of India. At the time, he was Chief Minister of the Gujarat state. So I try to discuss some of the blood train from the Japan side to the India, all the some desalination project, or the recycling projects, whatever, any kind of such project already done in India. And also the shifted to the Thailand. I work with government of Thailand and to the support such an open innovation network between the Thailand and the Japan side. And actually, I already set up a couple projects between the emerging Asia side and the Japan side because Japan is so country type of the SMEs who has only one technology in the world. So that's why it's a very good chance to bring them to the emerging Asia side. So that's why I support such companies. Become going to the emerging Asia side as FDIs, foreign direct investment, or the partnership between such countries like this. So today we are talking about how to elaborate such the innovations, especially for the disruptive innovations. So everybody may say every countries try to seek the innovation, especially for the disruptive innovation. So they focus on the startups. But in Japan, I will mention later. So Japan is much, much better the restartup from such SMEs in Japan rather than the startups like in the Silicon Valley or in the Shenzhen in China or the Bangalore in India. Okay, I tell you the mention later the detail of these stories. Okay, first of all, in Japan, the situation, the SME situation in Japan. And also, the unfortunately, Japan is the third largest, even though the third largest economic giant. However, in terms of the per capita GDP is unfortunately less than the rank is very low so far. In the future, it's a declining of the status of such an economic stage. And also, they face a very serious aged society, super aged society. Actually, the more than 65 years old people is shared around the 30%, so 1/3 of the entire population as going to the aged demographics. Okay, such a situation has happened, so that's why it's very serious. And also, so if you look at the situation of okay, what's happening? Okay, so if you look at some startup situations, the guys, so A or B, which is, so one side is Japan, another side is Estonia. So I hope the A is Japan, but unfortunately A is Estonia. Okay, B is Japan. So unfortunately it's a very less stage of the the startup stage. So that is, and in terms of the efficiency of the innovation, so I already, the such exercise and the research, and unfortunately Japan is not so good at the input and the finance and the human resource and the output is such innovation, but unfortunately not so high rank for Japan. But on the other side, restartup is very important. Even though the big giant of the Japanese company, like a Toyota and Bridgestone, previously such a companies also is a small companies. If you look at the Toyota, the origin was the textile company. Sakichi Toyota already invented 100 years back. That was the textile machineries. But now it was time to change toward the automobile companies and industries. In the same sense, if you look at the Bridgestone, so far is a big tire company, but 100 years back, that was some company for the boots or the socks companies. The sole was rubber, so that's why they already transferred the business toward the tire like this. So such a situation is very important. So that's why we try to focus on such a restart from the SMEs. Okay. Okay. Next one is another. Okay. It takes time to the slide. Okay. So. What is the situation of the SME in Japan so far? Actually, to be honest, Japan is a 99.7% of the company belong to the SME side, not a big company like a Toyota and Bridgestones. Okay, entire company belong to such a the small and medium companies, and also based on such a they follow the such the subcontract systems, the relationship. The mother company is Toyota. And such SME is the children. Okay, tier 1 or tier 2. That was the SME situations. And also the such a company. Okay. So now that is the so-called keiretsu. It's a relationship between such a mother company and the children companies. But now it's time to change. Okay, millennium eras, the keiretsu system already declining. So SMEs so far is independent situations. So in sum up, so the previously in 1980s, Japan was number one stage for such a manufacturing stage. At the time, such a vertical group like a mother company and the children company and the grandchildren company. It seems like a pyramid, like the top side. But now it's time to change. It's a horizontal relationship. Each SME is called join and to create a new, such a network. That is the situations. But now, still now, it's quite difficult and tough work to get a new, innovation, especially for such a disruptive innovation. Why? Reason is in Japan, so very rigid regulation happens, and also the fixed such a subcontract systems like a procurement system. Okay, if you look at the Toyota, Toyota already identified a very specific, even though the factory they already get such a procurement, the parts, even though the parts or some materials from the very specific company or the factories. So that's why I bring the one example. For this is the EV companies, but this is a very small. They have only 11 employees there. They're very, very tiny company. However, they already launched, not in Japan, but in Thailand. Why? Reason is they escaped. They avoid such a, the very rigid regulation and as well as the such a, the subcontract situation. This is very unique companies. Because this is a floating EV. If you look at the bottom of the picture, so this is a swimming the water. Why? Reason is the monsoon season that happens. Every emerging Asia company, including Japan side also, so many flood happens. So that's why if you floating or the swimming, the water side, so it's very good technology. And also, they have a good, battery system. They are adjustables. In terms of the EV, the most important components, key components is the battery. Every 3 months or the half an hour, year, so the battery already changed, upgrading. Okay, every 3 months. So that is a sort of the dog year, right? So that's why if you change the new one anytime, so it's very, very easier to catch up the evolution of the battery. That is a system. Okay. So next part. So I'd like to tell you the another side, the Restartup Service. Of course, based on such a situation behind such a phenomena, we already know that there are two types of the innovation that happens. One side is the disruptive innovations. Another side is the continuous innovations. So it's A to C is a disruptive. It's a changing the trend. That is important. So that's what we seek. On the other side, we need also the continuous innovation because we have to earn the money from that side also. So that's why the Christopher Christensen already the posted such a several of the innovators dilemma. Of course, any big companies like a Toyota, even though the Toyota, I suppose, they face such a serious situations because of the disrupt. Even though the big company, if got such a disruptive innovation, the previously, it's quite difficult to the another type of disruptive innovations. But on the other side, they try to improve their own business, like continuous innovations, like Toyota already, did conducting such a Kaizen system, improving their own business on the automobile. So that's why how to manage such a disruptive innovation one side and another side is a continuous innovation. So that's why already in the Tashman or the Merge or Duncan already mentioned that the dexterity type of, both sides, two hands type of the innovation. The one side, we need to such exploiting the one existing business on the one side. Of course, in terms of the SME, it's much easier to catch up such exploiting side. But unfortunately, it's very difficult to get this exploring the new disrupting innovation source. So that is why the Kanazawa University already provides such a new Restartup entrepreneur programs, education program, and dispatching our students toward the each SMEs to find the new source of the disruptive innovation. So that is the story of today. So I will tell you the more detail of this, the new education system. Okay. Okay. So, okay, next one. Okay, so I already conducting some such a system of the LEP. LEP is a Lead Startup Education Entrepreneur Education Programs. So beforehand, last year, I already set up the Beyond COVID-19 Forum. So that is very unique concept. Every student already posted, not only the Kanazawa University, but all of the university from Japan side, not only Japan side, but also the Thailand, Hungary, and from the Indian side also, they posted a very new idea, cooperate with the Hokuriku, the Kanazawa's SMEs, one side. And adding to these such SMEs, our university, so variety type of the researchers also have these as a mentor and try to brush up and modify such a proposals and then to create a new business. So that is the system. That's a sort of the platform for the innovations. For example, one examples. So my student already launched a new company. Its name is Life Commerce Companies. So why did so under the COVID-19 pandemic situations, every elderly people in the care house, it's quite difficult to go out. So that's on behalf of such elderly people staying in care house. So this company, shooting the video in the sightseeing place and to show such a good landscape scenery. And also, if some gentleman lady want to purchase some, items, okay, they visited the shop and to purchase and delivering to the care house. So that is a unique system. It's a sort of the new business already launched like this. So variety type such a system already done through this Beyond COVID-19 forum. Okay, to some extent, so I already set up a new education system. Okay, so just, sorry. Okay. Next one. Okay, so this is the new type of the system of the Lead Startup Entrepreneur Education Program, so-called LEP. Okay, based on this, our Kanazawa University is the school is a School of Innovation and Society, CSIS. So we already supporting and dispatching my student as well as my researchers to support these programs. And there's more than 100 companies, especially the SMEs in Hokuriku region, including the Kanazawa, and collaborate to each other, join to each other. And then we try to support the restartup for the SMEs to going to, I hope, in future, the unicorn companies. And to some extent, we try to set up a new company. Name is Kintsugi. It's a Kanazawa Innovation Network by the transdisciplinary science among the university, government, and industry, the tripartite, we already joined to each other like this. Such a system already done, and the couple such an exercise already done. I tell you the example based on such a system. Okay. Okay, first of all, this is the Kimono company. You know, the kimono is a very famous Japanese traditional costume. So that company is Shiko. The name is Shiko. That company already have 250 years histories. It's very long history. But now it's time to change, transform their own business toward high-tech DX sericulture company. You know the sericulture. You know there's such a the silkworm. So the making the silk. Okay, silk thread. So in the same sense, we try to focus such a system, but this is automatically sericulture system. Based on the DX digital transformation system. For instance, they already launched a company in the Laopedia, the ASEAN countries, and they make the smart agriculture field and cultivating the mulberry fern, okay, mulberry leaf, and the mulberry field only the silkworm only biting such a mulberry leaf. So that's why a powdering system and bring to Japan side. And if you look the below's a picture, that is insect factories. Okay, based on if you look at this tube, this cocoon is here. So every the silkworm making such a cocoons and then automatically get such a the silk resources. That's a system. They already changing such a business. It's a very unique examples. One side. Okay, so the another side is also the very unique companies. This is the firefighting companies. This is also the SME. So far they already transformed their one business toward the agriculture irrigation pump company, manufacturing company. Why? So the previously this company wished to go to the Thailand because of the Japan side, the market for such a firefighting engine, it's shrinking. So that's why they try to find a new business in the Thailand. But unfortunately, the Thailand also shrinking because of the there is not so much the firefighting engine. So that's why they try to seek the good the opportunity for the market. But this company, they have a very good function for this pump. If you utilize the the hose, they can deliver the water more than 1 kilometers. So compared to the another companies, it's very, very good, the delivering water system. So that's why they apply to the, the hilly mountain areas for the cultures. Because of in Chiang Mai, it's a mountain areas of the Thailand, they need the cultivate the coffee tree, coffee plantation, or the grapes because of the wine, right? So they contribute toward making such a new cultivation system in Thailand. This is also, even though the SMEs, they can change their own business from the firefighting engine toward the agriculture irrigation pump. So that is the stories, okay? And the same sense. So we try to make such a variety type of SME going to the new business. It's sort of the restartup. Okay, so every year, so the second grade student, my side, the ISI of the Kanazawa University, already first of all, they're going to each SMEs to find what kind of the core competency happens from each SMEs, and then to provide the hypothesis. What is a new market? How to apply it to each new market? This is the hypothesis, and try to there's such a trials of each market, and then create a new business like such a kimono company toward the DX agriculture industries, or such a firefighting engine. I already mentioned that such a firefighting company toward the agriculture irrigation, pumping machine manufacturing like this. Okay. So such a variety type of company. I already get more than 100 Japanese, especially from the Kanazawa region. This is a core competence sheet. This is only one page. So the one side we can, what kind of core competence happens? This is delivering, the distance for the 1 kilometers by force, right? And also if you look at the picture, it's much easier to understand what kind of the facilities happen in there, like this. This is the system. Okay, why Kanazawa? Why Kanazawa is the capital of the half for the such a restartup? Reason is, first of all, Kanazawa, the 400 years back, the very big warlord, the billionaire warlord, located and developed this Kanazawa city. This warlord, it's next to the shogun. It's at the samurai era. So that's why this the Kanazawa is a sort of the samurai cities. And also, if you look at these pictures, it's very beautiful sceneries. In the winter season, we can get such the snowy landscapes, the covered by the snow. It's a very famous Kenroku Park. It's one of the most famous park in Japan. And look at the left-hand side, right-hand side of the picture, you can find the cherry blossoms and also the Kanazawa castles. Also, they take very, very the proximities to the two capitals, ancient capital Kyoto and also now the Tokyo. Only the 2 hours from them by red trains like this. Okay, so that's why it's a very good location in the Kanazawa city. And also, Kanazawa is the center of the Japan archipelagos. And also, we have the very good accumulation for the industries. If you look at the Japan archipelagos and maps, so the Kanazawa side is the west coast of Japan. It seems like a Silicon Valley, the west coast. So that's where we can pop up the such disruptive innovations from these areas. If you utilize restartup systems. So that's why we focus on the Kanazawa University for such a restartup system. And also, I'll mention more things that. Okay, so this is if you look at the global niche top, it means only one technology in the world. The top number 1 and 2 is the Hokuriku region. Our region is the Kanazawa, including Kanazawa areas. So that's why we can get such a good collaboration with such a global niche top SMEs already located here in Kanazawa side. So that's why we can utilize such a company to mobilize such SMEs to be the such SMEs, the new the innovation, especially disruptive side. Okay, so now I already mentioned that now we are building the new company for the Kintsugi. Kintsugi is a Kanazawa Innovation Network by the transdisciplinary science among the university, our Kanazawa University, and the government. Our government is a prefectural government, local government, as well as the Japanese government, and also the industry. More than 100 SMEs already jump in these systems. Okay, but Kintsugi also, literally speaking, in Japanese, this is very good, the very unique method for the renovation for the antique. So if you look at left hand side of the picture, it's a broken the plate, right? It's a very antique, but this is no price and no value. But if you utilize the gold thread or the gold leaf and combine to each other, that is get another values. Okay, it's very beautiful after the renovation, right? So in the same sense, we try to combine to the another the SMEs. So far, unfortunately, not so good in the new business, especially for the disruptive innovation side. But if we, the Kanazawa University, as seems like a gold providers, okay, so we try to combine each other to the SMEs or the another the researchers project and to each other and to create a new business for the new the value in future. That is the concept of the Kanazawa Innovation Network, especially for the restartup systems. Okay, so I will mention compared to the another countries, Japan already so variety type of the such SMEs who has only one technology in the world. Okay, so the 1980s, so Japan, Dr. Ezra Boger already mentioned that Japan as number 1 for the manufacturing. But unfortunately, after 30 years, not so much the power for the Japanese manufacturing so fast. A couple company already disrupted, and but now I hope so. We try to restart for Japanese SME because of the 99% of the entire enterprises in Japan that belong to the SME side. They have the only one technology in the world before the 30 years back also. So that's why if you rebirth or restart startups, so for the such the technology or know-how and experience, and that is a good chance rather than the startup. I already mentioned that. So that if you look at the Silicon Valley or the Bangalore or the Chanson, so such a place, the younger generation also concentrate on the startup side. But in Japan, especially Kanazawa, we try to focus on such a restartup side because of the good SME already located here. And at the same time, the government of Japan, the central government, also now try to provide the very big budget toward the restartup or the rebirth of the existing SMEs. More than 1 trillion Japanese yen. It's a very big budget. Focus on such new SME policies. Okay, so that's why it's a very good. It's in line with such a new policies, especially the new government of Japan also follow such a trend of the new SME policies. So that's why it's time to change outside not only the startup for the younger generation. Why don't you collaborate the younger generation with the elder generation or the existing companies for the SMEs? So that I suppose a good chemistry is between the younger generation side and the elder generation side, elder generation or the expertise, right? So that is a good chance to collaborate with each other. So that's why my proposal is that. So please send you student from the Estonia. Actually, to be honest, Kanazawa University already make agreement, some partnership agreement with Estonia, okay, to welcome the such a student, foreign studying business, studying student to the Kanazawa University. So why don't you dispatch such a student from your side? And we are really welcome to provide the LEP system, a Restartup Entrepreneur Education Programs. Okay, so if you jump in this, the programs, it's much easier. I introduce a Japanese SME, especially in our regions, Hokuriku regions, because I will mention that we have only one technology companies in the world. So this is the print of the treasure, like a gold, right? So if we collaborate with such SMEs, we can much easier, relatively, right? Relatively, so much easier to boost the disruptive innovation from such a collaboration with the existing SMEs from our regions with the student who's studying in Kanazawa University. That is our strategies, and also the our the programs is going on. And unfortunately, so far is a COVID-19, the pandemic situation. It's very difficult to collaborate and welcoming to the overseas student. But now it's time to change. Okay, so maybe the next year and this year or next year. So we hope we open the such a student linkage from your side, and the overseas. You are very welcome to the student from your country. Okay, so that is my presentation. So thank you so much for your attentions. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Daisuke. So we have about 10 minutes for questions before we head to coffee. If I don't see any hands up at the moment, I'm going to start with a few of my own. So Daisuke, when I've been talking to startup entrepreneurs, they often complain that traditional industries are too slow. They're too conservative. They don't really see the chances that are out there. And on the contrary, startup guys, they invent a new product. They see a niche, a segment somewhere which the traditional industry has ignored. Now, how do you how do you solve this problem of very innovative, impatient thinking from youngsters coming from the university in the restartup model, where they go and end up in companies that have only one technology and that have maybe been doing it for a while? How do you bridge those two different methods of thinking?
Yeah. That is very important. Probably the good questions. Yeah, I think so. Actually, to be honest, I conducting such the programs at that time. So many type of such a conflict is happens between the younger generation and the tradition sectors. Okay, so in case. Firstly, the younger generation from the university side, they try to bring the sobriety such a this argument or some good, the new technologies, discussion with the elderly peoples. Okay, so in case we create such, even though the conflict, but they also get the new, such a chemistries between the younger generation and the traditional, the elderly peoples like this. Okay, so why? Reason is they don't the traditional sector, they don't know the exact situation for such a, for example, the digital transformation or some of the bio new technologies happens. So that's why it's good chance to share the knowledge or the new trend of the technologies. So that's, for example, if you look at the I already mentioned that such a firefighting engine companies. So previously, one of my students already, proposed, why don't you go to the some agriculture irrigation pump industries? But the chairman of this company refused because they don't want to change our business. But his son, successor of this company, oh, this is very interesting, potent, transformation. So that's why they accept this idea. So that's why such an impact from the student or the university side, it's a good stimulation to the such a traditional industries. Okay, so
But you still need to
step by step.
find the children of the owners of those traditional industries and approach them. You shouldn't go directly to the parents, right? That's the lesson that you just described. One
Step by
more
step.
question. What is the difference between disruptive and sustaining innovation? Do we need the same requirements to make it happen within the organization, or do those two ways of innovating need completely different approaches?
Yeah, I think so. So, for example, the Japanese side, almost all SMEs are very good at the such a sustainable innovation or the continuous innovation. Because of the, the kaizen, it's a very famous word in Japan, especially in the world. So they're improving their own business step by step. It's the same line, same trend of the, improving the business. But on the other side, if you drastically change the business or the innovation, it's quite difficult, So that's why, exploiting or exploring both sides is required. Okay. So that's why that we need both, abilities for the organizations. So that's why, especially for the SMEs, it's a very tiny company. It's quite difficult to allocate such a human being. Both sides. So that's why university, support and contribute toward the exploring side for the disruptive innovations. Okay. So that is the system and cooperate with the university side.
What kind of culture needs to be established in an organization to support innovation and creativity? Let's take this Restartup organization as an example. So how do you really inject that innovation in a company that might have the one technology and that they're very proud of?
So they each company. So it's if you get such a spice or the stimulus things from outside. It's very important. Otherwise, it's quite difficult. So that's why our student is a very good, some enzyme for creating a new business. I think so. Without any such, the stimulations, nothing happens for the culture, accepting such a new, business trend or something. So, but drastically, if each existing company try to change, they need such a, outsiders input. Okay, I think so.
We have more questions from the hall here. A microphone will be given to the gentleman. Here you go.
Hello to Japan. Thank you for the presentation.
Hi.
My a little bit provocative question is, do you think lean management and TPS support innovation?
So you mean lean management? So it's required for such a lean management system?
Lean management is supporting innovation culture or not? What do you think?
So depend on such a lean management systems. So for example, the Japanese SMEs. So sometimes they try to change the management system also, the one side, but another side it's difficult to change the management itself. So that's why they the on the one side they still utilizing the existing management system, but they try to get I suppose this is a chicken and egg situations. If you get a new, such a source of the new innovations, it's much easier to change the management system. So such a, depend on the situations. But in any case, so without any such stimulation from outside, nothing happens. So from university side, we can provide such first of all, we try to input toward the traditional existing SMEs, and then to get some new chemistries from this some relationship. That is my approach. Right?
We have one more question here from the first row. Oh, we have two questions here. Okay, good.
Thank you for an interesting presentation. I have such a question. If we look back to history, several decades after Second World War, Japanese Keiretsu system, these big corporations and linked enterprises, it was quite good in innovating. Now in Europe, including Estonia, we have more focus on independent startups. Maybe sometimes they are cooperating with some larger companies in incubators, in accelerators. But if you take these two systems, so why first Keiretsu system doesn't work anymore so well in Japan? And then what is your future vision of innovation ecosystem in Japan? Is it something similar what we have in Europe, or is there some third way?
Thank you so much. This is also a very important point, I suppose. The previously, you were right, there's such a pyramid type of the, Keiretsu system. The mother company like a Toyota, and tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, like a children and the grandchildren systems, right there. So that is very good ecosystem for the new innovation. But now it time to change because of first of all, the globalization. They try to, get a very good procurement system in all over the world, first of all. Secondly, the IT system or the digital transportations, like technology breakthroughs already happened, and much easier, connect to each other. So that's why rather than the pyramid system, the horizontal system is much easier. It's much useful for the innovation. Why? Reason is so the such an open innovation system. It's very good, very workable for then getting the new innovation, creating new innovation. So that's why we try to melting down for the such a Keiretsu system, the pyramid vertical system already down like this. Unfortunately, in Japan, in the historically and unfortunately, so far it's quite difficult to maintain such a systems. Already show such a statistics, right?
I'm going to take one last question from row number 3 there. Go ahead.
So my question is, which is your most common practice or strategy? You have a pool of SMEs that are waiting and hoping for restartup ideas, or when a student develops a restartup idea, you then match them and approach the SME. Which is it?
Great question.
Yeah, thank you so much. So firstly, student side is very important because of they provided the hypothesis and try and error a couple of times. And firstly the trial, but then almost all things is the error side. But try and error the couple of times, frequently time the trial. After that, we get the good, the source of the successful. So that's why we try to get the dispatching student to the SME side and to find the good experience and for the student side also.
Thank you very much, Daisuke.